Streaming December 12th on Peacock. Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie are back.
That's hot. Loves it.
For a show-stopping reunion that will prove putting on an opera is anything but simple.
We're really good at this.
One thing's for sure, they won't be upstaged.
Good to have you back. Come on, we've got a show to do.
Paris and Nicole, The Encore, a 3-part reunion special, streaming December 12th, only on Peacock.
Electricast.
Basketball star Hector Bloom tries his best to stay on track with his athletic pursuits at university, but his private life and the actions of others take a toll on him that cannot be discounted. Welcome to the edgy, uninhibited world of Drive, He Said. Hello, I'm Ethan Janakis, founder of the Cinematic Revelations movie review and interview blog, and welcome to my Cinematic Revelations podcast. This is a podcast for those seeking more depth out of their cinematic experience, to separate the filmic wheat from the chaff, and to bring notice to those films which deserve reappraisal. Today I will be examining Jack Nicholson's 1971 film Drive, He Said, starring Michael Margotta, William Tepper, Karen Black, June Fairchild and Bruce Dern. Drive, He Said, is about basketball champion and university student Hector Bloom, who carries on an affair with his professor's girlfriend, while Hector's friend Gabriel suffers a nervous breakdown attempting to avoid the draft for Vietnam. Within a film history context, character studies of sports stars have often been featured throughout cinema history. Comparable films from around the late 1960s and early 1970s come to mind, such as A Professional Skier in Downhill Racer, 1969, a tennis pro in The Christian Licorice Store, 1971, and a stock car champion in The Last American Hero, 1973. These movies explored different sporting personalities, their drive to the top of their game, with the concurrent effect that their personal lives clashed with their competitive spirit and were polar opposites in nature. Drive, He Said, was no different, examining the professional and personal life of a basketball player, but unlike the other two films, was much freer in highlighting the protagonist's sexual and other extracurricular activities. It was also notable for its dialogue, which was sprinkled with 4-letter words, and the inclusion of both male and female frontal nudity. This frank content set it apart from other movies around this era, which were more restrained in these areas. In addition to being a character study, Drive, He Said, was also among a group of films with a university campus theme produced in the early 1970s. These included movies such as Richard Rush's Getting Straight, Michelangelo Antonioni's Zabriskie Point, Stuart Hagman's The Strawberry Statement, and Stanley Kramer's RPM, all released in 1970. While these films covered thematic territory similar to Drive, He Said, in terms of alienation and disillusionment, the movie differed from these in how it moved away from the depiction of lecture theatres and other university locales. The closest the film was to spotlighting university rooms was the basketball auditorium, the outside grounds of the establishment, and, most notably, the science laboratory at the film's conclusion. Overview. Drive, He Said, was actor Jack Nicholson's directorial debut, followed by Goin' South, 1978, and The Two Jakes, 1990. Drive, He Said, explores the life of ace basketball player and university student Hector Bloom. While the movie's events follow Hector's life and loves, the impression is that the protagonist plays, in retrospect, more of a secondary role in the narrative, which shifts the emphasis to the supporting characters. This may not always be detrimental in cinema, but in the case of Drive, He Said, it makes Hector seem like a dullard, and just a viewer in his life more than an active participant. It also renders his relationship with Olive, and their various ups and downs, as rather boring, instead of being the film's primary focus. Despite these deficiencies, there are some very good aspects to the movie. The filming of the basketball sequences are exciting, the camera work capturing the action as if the audience was there in the stadium witnessing it firsthand. The behind-the-scenes shower room frolics give the characters a depth and identity away from their public image as basketball champions. Apart from the basketball scenes, the supermarket segments are entertaining and take some steam away from the movie by giving it a lighter air. Gabrielle's draft dodging, shameless behaviour and eventual breakdown, though, are the best part of the film. These are handled in an eye-opening but sympathetic manner, particularly the science laboratory scene, without making the character seem like a caricature. In all, Drive, he said, is an insightful, thoughtful film with some very interesting moments, but is not coherent as a whole.
This episode is brought to you by Etsy.
Oh.
Hear that?
Okay, thank you.
Etsy knows these aren't the sounds of holiday gifting. Well, not the ones you're hoping for. You want squeals of delight. Happy tears.
How did you?
And spontaneously written songs of joy.
I am so happy. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, the song needs a bit of work, but anyway, to get those reactions, make sure everyone on your list feels heard with handmade, handpicked, and designed gifts from small shops on Etsy. Gifts like personalized jewelry, custom artwork, cozy style items, vintage pieces, and home decor to celebrate all of your favorite people and their specific kind of special. For original gifts that say, I get you, Etsy has it.
Acting. This is a movie where the acting is sound, with some miscasting in pivotal roles which hampers the film somewhat, but several very striking performances abound. In the lead role, William Tepper does a passable job and is watchable, but unfortunately lacks the charisma which would entirely convince the viewer of his plight. This has the effect of him passing the baton to other performers in the film to shine, and also functioning more as a plot device than as a real character. The role would have been much better suited to Jeff Bridges, who, after playing basketball in Halls of Anger, 1970, would have brought more drama and full-blooded emotion to the part. The lead role notwithstanding, Bruce Dern, on the other hand, turns in a brilliant, finely tuned performance as Hector's coach, who does his best to keep Mr. Tepper's character on an even keel professionally, but finding difficulty due to Hector Bloom's excesses. Presenting Bruce Dern on screen without his usual moustache was an inspired idea, and works beautifully in Drive, he said. The camera feasted upon Mr. Dern's face, particularly his eyes, which expressed so many different emotions, and also afforded him an even more authoritative aura than other films in which he had appeared with his facial hair. Apart from Bruce Dern, Michael Margotta also offers a standout performance as Hector's troubled, drug-addicted friend Gabrielle in the film. He has by far the most challenging role in Drive, he said, given the character's mood swings and extreme behaviour throughout the film. It is a credit to Mr. Margotta that he maintained audience interest in his character, who could be thoroughly resistible at times. The pity felt towards the character at the film's end is justified, and Mr. Margotta plays these scenes to maximum effect, often without uttering a single word during his most manic moments. Additionally, there were several other performances in the film which merit discussion. Karen Black, a performer who generally shines in her roles, was given a part as Hector Bloom's secret doléance, Olive, that severely undercut her energy. The role did not allow her to display the range and sensitivity that was so apparent in films such as 5 Easy Pieces, 1970, and Born to Win, 1971, to give a few examples. On the other hand, June Fairchild was lively as Gabrielle's girlfriend Sylvie, who also takes a shine to Hector Bloom. There was the feeling, though, that she could have been further utilised in a better capacity in Drive, he said, instead of just having her giggling in her scenes and running around naked. She had an energy and sass that was contagious and deserved more coverage in the film than she received. Soundtrack. The music used during the opening basketball scenes adds a pulsating, thumping rhythm to the proceedings, perfectly matching and enhancing the action. This music is employed at various other points in the movie and works just as well, emphasising the nervy, jazzy energy of Drive, he said. Mise en scène. The sets and spaces used in the film are naturalistic and appropriate to the characters and the action taking place. The scenes of hijinks between the basketball players in the shower stalls are realistic and add dimension to the characters. It is as if the audience is afforded an uncensored, revealing look at what happens behind the scenes between athletes, with the shower faucets running and uninhibited displays of male nudity. On the other hand, the supermarket scenes between Hector and Olive have a certain flair about them due to their location. This location provides an authentic backdrop to the argument that is taking place between them, adding an everyday feel to it, with the restrictions of the store used to full effect. Apart from the public areas in the film, the characters' place of living are also well designed. The abode that Hector and Gabrielle share is messy, which parallels their stormy private lives, in particular, Gabrielle's shattered state of mind. In complete contrast to this, the house that Olive lives in with her boyfriend, university professor Richard, is homey and well appointed. With a comfortable kitchen and living room that have wide windows, offering a view of the outside world from this vantage point, the living room exuding a graceful air. Richard and Olive's home is the most attractive of the settings featured in Drive, he said. Worthy performances, in my opinion, are by Bruce Dern, Michael Margotta, and June Fairchild. Is the film suitable for young viewers? No, as there is frequent coarse language, male and female nudity, adult themes, medium-level violence, and drug use. I award Drive, he said, a C grade, being that it is an average movie, but with some redeeming features. I hope that you have enjoyed my peek into the world of Drive, he said. In the next podcast, I will be looking at Dennis Hopper's seminal 1969 movie, Easy Rider, starring the director himself, Peter Fonda, and Jack Nicholson. You've been listening to the Cinematic Revelations podcast. I'm your host and producer, Ethan Janakis. If you like what you heard, please leave us a good review and subscribe wherever you listen. For more, be sure to visit my blog at cinematicrevelations.blogspot.com. Until next time, stay well, stay safe, and happy cinematic travels.